let us go to the country, Rahi, that you were just in, which of course was Spain. And you missed, you were in Madrid. There you go. There's your Real Madrid jersey, but
Yes,
you missed this fiasco.
I did miss this fiasco. I got out just before things got crazy. It's a good thing I didn't go to this game because it lasted a lot longer than people realized it would. Fans started leaving. I believe it, and the entire game must have gone on forever because there was a good 20-minute stoppage after in about the 68th minute when some fans started throwing lighters and different objects onto the field at Thibaut Courtois. The game, of course, was at the Metropolitano, Atletico Madrid's home ground. Where did Mr. Courtois play before he played for Real Madrid?
Atletico Madrid.
He did. So he's a former Atleti player, not really loved. He's certainly a brash personality.
Yeah.
I think what happened, he celebrates the goal that Militao scores for Real Madrid, celebrates it with maybe too much enthusiasm in front of the Atletico Madrid fans. They get a bit angry, throw some stuff on the field. They're warned, they throw some stuff on the field again. And then they stop the match for 20 minutes. I mean, do you think this is the right thing to do?
Well, let's just set the tone a little bit for those who may not be that aware of how intense this derby is. So Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid is an intense derby. I'd say, what would you say? It's second only to Real Madrid, Barcelona in Spain, probably.
In Spain, yes.
Yeah, in Spain. Right, yeah, you could say. I don't know if you want to compare Barcelona, Espanyol, but I think this one is probably a little bit more intense, perhaps at least in this current juncture in time. But you know, there's been a lot surrounding this, right? Because there's obviously the previous incidents that have come around Vinny Jr., right? Some racist chants, racist stuff going on social media saying, let's target this player. And it's very unfortunate that Vinny Jr. keeps getting targeted by these Atletico Madrid fans. So to your point, how do we handle this? It's hard because the issue at hand is, what do you feel happens to the players when the match pauses, right? That's what I kind of want to focus on for a second, because I feel like it's two different things. It's the fans and how to react to the fans. And then there's the product on the field, which is football on the field.
Yeah. And I think you saw that when the game restarted, the energy was all gone and the game really looked pretty lackluster. It's hard to disappear for 20 minutes, come back and try and re-energize yourself. So it's difficult for the players, but it's also difficult for the fans because they have to sit in the stadium for 20, 30 minutes, not knowing when the game is going to restart. And they're the ones who are taking the brunt of the punishment in a lot of ways. And they should, because they're the ones who started the whole thing. They're the problem. So I understand it as a punishment because you're saying, hey, you came here, you paid good money to see entertainment. The only way we're going to stop you and affect your behavior is by shutting off the entertainment.
Yeah, and that's fair. But I always tend to feel that it's a few bad apples that ruin it for the crowd as a whole. And I don't know. I mean, I think Atletico Madrid has now gone after these people and banning them and so on and so forth. But I wonder if the clubs have done enough leading up to these matches beforehand to stop this. Because if you think about it, it's kind of crazy to think that this day and age, we're still dealing with this.
It's nuts. It's wild. And I don't know what would compel a fan to go to a game and to believe that by throwing stuff onto the field, they'll get away with it, right? Or that they'll be able to attend another game. That's the thing, right? If you're really a fan of the team, by doing this, if the punishment is clear, you're risking the chance that you'll ever be able to go back to another match. If you're such a good Atleti fan, why would you risk that for the sake of throwing something onto the field? So to me, I agree with you. The club is not doing enough to disincentivize this action because clearly they think they can get away with it and come back next week for another game.
Yeah, and it's one of those strange things where, okay, you have Diego Simeone then saying, "Oh, well, Thibaut Courtois, he sort of incited them to a certain degree," and it turns into this issue where it's pitting the players against each other and then pitting the fans against each other. So, is there responsibility on the teams and players as well to make sure this stuff doesn't happen?
I don't think so, honestly. I don't think it's on the players. I think these are adults that are in the stadium. These are fans. I get it. There's a response. Sometimes you're inciting, you're celebrating aggressively, but at the same time, we ask that these footballers show emotion, right? We ask that they're intense. We ask that they give everything they can. So now you're going to blame them for celebrating a goal. He's a human being, Courtois. Clearly, maybe he's been goaded by the fans the whole game. He gets a little angry. He celebrates.
Yeah.
I think there's very little blame that should be placed on the players. And I think what Simeone and Koke said, that maybe Courtois has to be smarter, I don't believe that's true. I really don't.
Yeah, and again, there's a difference between celebrating, maybe even taunting the fans a little bit, and chucking bags of, we won't even name what they were throwing, but all kinds of ridiculous items onto the field where you could potentially injure a player. There's the whole background of the racism and all that kind of stuff that obviously is there in the background as well. So I think all of these things put together, this really needs to be a harsh punishment. But I just don't know if stopping the match in the middle of the proceedings is really good enough, frankly.
I think it's effective because, like I said, you turn off the entertainment. And if there's no game, why are you there? And that's the whole reason the fans are there. And it's the only way to affect change, I think. The other way is to really be much better at finding the people who are doing this and banning them for life from these games, right? Because then it's a big risk. If you do this, you may never be able to attend another game of your favorite team ever again.
Yeah.
The problem I have is the kind of rhetoric from Simeone and Koke talking about player blame. It excuses this action, right? We live in a world where people should be able to go to sporting events and not throw stuff onto the field, right? Like, that is not something big to ask. And we can't excuse that behavior by blaming players. To me, it's ridiculous.
It is 100% ridiculous, and it has to stop, and everything else around it too. Right? They've made some specific adjustments now. Atletico Madrid saying no one can cover their face at these matches and all that kind of stuff, which is a good initial step. I don't know why it took this long to do that.
Yeah, I mean, good point, right? They were wearing balaclavas or whatever they're called, so you couldn't really tell who these people were. I get that. So then, but that should be, I mean, if someone shows up wearing that to a game, isn't that a concern in the beginning, right? Like, why would you just be like, okay, yeah, please come into the stadium, Mr. Masked Avenger?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always wondered about the security systems in some of these matches and how that people are able to get in, but who are we to talk? Because here in the U.S. we've had all kinds of disasters during Copa America.
True.
But all right, so let us hear your comments about this. Those who saw the proceedings at the Atletico Real Madrid game, what is your opinion about how the officials should deal with these matches, how the club should deal with the fans and people who call us insubordination or a ruckus in the stands? Let us know in the comments. For those of you enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel. We'll have more later in the week. Rahi, any parting thoughts before we finish off for the night?
I feel like they should bring the fans onto the field that do this and force them to try and stop a penalty or face a tackle, Sergio Ramos tackle, or something that just would be really fundamentally embarrassing.
Yeah, let's just bring them all out and have them line up during the 20-minute delay in the middle of the field, and everyone can throw stuff at them or something like that. I don't know.
That's a bit sadistic.
So, all right, everyone, keep watching the beautiful game. We'll catch you guys next time.